Hello everybody! In this guitar lesson I'm going to teach you how to play Simple Twist of Fate by Bob Dylan. Now, on his Blood on the Tracks album, Dylan played this using open E tuning. So I'm going to give you two options. At the start of the lesson I'm going to show you how to play the song in open E tuning. That will be very faithful to the sound of the Dylan original. Towards the end of the lesson I'm going to show you how to play Simple Twist of Fate in concert tuning, that's standard guitar tuning. That won't be quite as faithful to the Dylan original, but it does mean you can play the song without retuning your guitar. So you can choose either of those options. Stay tuned, and in a moment I'll show you how to play Simple Twist of Fate in open E tuning, or skip towards the end of the lessons, use the chapter headings in the description, and then I'll show you how to play it in concert tuning. So the choice is yours. To tune to open E tuning, assuming your guitar is in concert tuning, you're going to leave the 6th string where it is tuned to E. You're going to tune the 5th string one tone up to B. You're going to tune the 4th string one tone up to E. You're going to tune the 3rd string a semitone up to G sharp. And you leave the 2nd string tuned to B as normal and the top string tuned to E as normal. And if you play all the strings open, you have a chord of E major, and that's why it's called open E tuning. Now, an alternative is to tune to open D tuning. In that case, each of the strings would be one tone lower than I've just described, and put a capo at the 2nd fret, which will have the same effect. Some people prefer that because you're less likely to break strings if you tune down rather than up. But my guitar is tuned to open E. Now, if you're not familiar already with open E tuning, you're obviously going to have to learn some new chords to play Simple Twist of Fate. But the good thing about the song is that it's very regular. There's no bridge, there's not really a chorus as such. There's just a verse with a refrain at the end of it, the Simple Twist of Fate line. And that verse keeps on repeating, and it uses the same chord progression every time. So once you know that chord progression, you know it. Now let's look at the first 3 chords then. So the very first chord is E major. And to get to E major, you're going to put your ring finger on the 5th string, 5th fret, and you're going to put your middle finger on the 4th string, 4th fret. And that's the first chord, E major. They sat together in the park. And the next chord is E major 7. And to get there, all we have to do is to remove our ring finger from the 5th string and put our index finger on the 5th string at the 4th fret. That's our E major 7 chord. As the evening sky grew dark. And then the 3rd chord is E7 as opposed to E major 7, and to get there we're just going to take that index finger and slide it down from the 5th string 4th fret to the 5th string 3rd fret. She looked at him and he felt a spark. So far we have E major 7 and E7, and it's going to sound like this. They sat together in the park. As the evening sky grew dark, she looked at him and he felt a spark. And all we're doing there is just moving on the 5th string by 1 fret or 1 semitone for each of those chords. And that's part of the charm of the song. So the 4th chord is a chord of A major. And to get to that chord, you're going to put your middle finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret. You're going to put your index finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret. And you're going to put your ring finger on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. That's your A major chord. Now some of these chords are inverted, so that's got an E on the bottom. So officially I think it would be A over E. But let's not worry about that too much, we're just going to call it an A major. Tingle to his bones. And then you take your ring finger off B string ring out for a couple of strokes. So it's tingle to his bones. Okay, so the story so far then, starting with that E major. They sat together in the park as the evening sky grew dark. She looked at him and he felt a spark tingle to his bones. Our next chord is a chord of A minor, and to get to that chord, put your middle finger on the 4th string 5th fret, put your index finger on the 3rd string 4th fret, and put your ring finger on the 2nd string 5th fret, and you're just going to play from the 4th string down. It was then he fell alone. You're not going to play the 6th string or the 5th string because they don't really go with the chords, so just play from the 4th string down. Now, if you listen to the Blood on the Tracks version, I think you can hear something about a little bit like this happening. And I'm not sure if that might be an overdubbed guitar. It's a little bit difficult to play that as you're singing in particular or trying to keep the rhythm going. So I think that's all around that A minor chord. It's just a slide up to the 5th fret there, and you're playing the 4th string, 3rd string twice, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string. So you can play with that if you want to. I find that hard to work into the rhythm, but I can hear something like that happening on the record. So the next part of the song goes like this. I'll demo it for you first. And wished he got straight. So there are 4 chords there. The first chord is the E major chord with which we started the song. So that E major. Now, I'll show you how to get to the second chord, and then I'll talk about what the chord actually is. So what you do to get to the second chord is you remove your middle finger from the 4th string there, and you're going to slide your ring finger down from the 5th string 5th fret to the 5th string 4th fret. And then you're going to put your index finger here on the 4th string 2nd fret, and you play from the 5th string down. And that's your chord. It's a lovely chord. Now, what is it? Well, the notes I'm playing there from the 5th string down are E flat, F sharp, G sharp, B, and E. Very, very nice chord. Now, what's it called? Well, I think it might be a form of E major 7 with an added second. The F sharp here on the 4th string being the added second, because F sharp is the second of E. But if so, it's inverted because it hasn't got the root note, which would be E, hasn't got that on the bottom. Maybe there's a better name for it. You can tell me anyway. Tell me in the comments if you can discover a better name for that chord. For now, I'm going to call it a form of E major 7 with an added second. The third chord is back to that A major that we met earlier, so this chord. And then the final chord is A. So you just take off your ring finger from the 2nd fret, from the 2nd string, sorry. So you're playing that 2nd string, that B open, and that's giving you an A major 2 because the B is the second note of the A major chord. So we have this. And wished that he got straight. So let me demo the last part of the verse for you, and then I'll walk you through how to play it and explain the chords. So this is the last part. And watched out for a simple twist of fate. So those chords then, the first one is the E major that we've already met here. Now the second chord is maybe my favourite chord of the song, and it's this chord. So you're going to play the 5th string open, you're going to put your middle finger on the 4th string 2nd fret. You're going to put your index finger on the 3rd string 1st fret, and you're going to put your ring finger on the 2nd string 2nd fret, and you're going to play the top string open. So this is it. Lovely magical chord. I honestly don't know what chord that is. I can tell you the notes in the chord. So the notes in the chord are B, F sharp, A, C sharp, and E. I'll try and find out what it is, and I'll label it on the chord chart that you'll see up here. But if you've got a better idea than whatever I come up with, do let me know in the comments. A really beautiful chord, full of, well, not full, but in that chord there are, within it, some definite discords. So for example, there's an F sharp and an E. Take those away from the chord and they don't sound great together, but put them in the chord and they're lovely. So that's the 2nd chord there. The 3rd chord is just simply you take your ring finger off of the 2nd string. So that 2nd string is an open, which is giving us a note of B there. And then we go back to the E major. And watched out for a simple twist of fate. Now I know people sometimes like to play along to the whole of a song, or the whole verse at least. Now I have recorded a cover of Simple Twist of Fate in open E tuning, and it's on my other channel, which is called Peter's Songs. So I'll put a link to that cover in the description of this video, and if you want to play along to it, just click the link and then you can play along to the cover. I'll show you the strumming pattern for Simple Twist of Fate in just a minute, but before I do that, let me just say, if you've been enjoying this video, please do hit the like button, and also if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel so that you're notified about all of the future guitar lessons that I release. Okay, let's think about the rhythm of the song now then, and the kind of strumming you want to do. Well, I think, to be sort of fairly faithful to the Dylan version, it wants to sound a bit like this. The rhythm, I think, is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So if we break that down in that way, the 1 is a downstroke, really on the bass strings. So in this case, I'm hitting strings 5 and 4. You could hit 6, 5 and 4, that would work as well. So the 1 is a downstroke. And then the and, to, and, that's an up, down, up, and, to, and that's really on the treble strings there, mainly strings 3, 2, 1, maybe a bit of 4. So you've got down, up, down, up, 1, and 2, and. Now the 3 is a down, but it's barely perceptible. I think it is there, but it's just very light. 3, and then we've got and 4 and, which is up, down, up on the treble strings again. So the basic pattern is kind of like this: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But the second of the sort of emphasised downs on beat 3, it's hardly there. So let me play that for you a little bit quicker. It's going to sound like this. Now when you're changing chord, you can try and sort of ape a little bit or copy what the bass is doing. There is a bass in the Blood and the Tracks recording, bass guitar, and it's doing more than this, but you can try to play it like this. So see I'm picking out the bass strings when I change chord there. And I'm picking out that chromatic descent there from the E major to the E major 7 to the E7 on the 5th string. We're going down chromatically, so great to pick that out. Now in terms of timing, this is what I'm doing. I'm playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So in that case, when I'm going to change chords, I'm hitting the bass strings on the 4th beat of the bar and again on the 1st beat of the next bar. Okay, and there's an and between them for and that's a sort of a slight up, but again not very perceptible. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2. And if you can get that into your playing, then I think it's going to sound really good. So far in this lesson I've used my pick to play with the right hand, but Simple Twist of Fate can sound pretty nice playing with your thumb and your index finger. And you can use the thumb to pick out the bass notes. And you can use the top of the thumb, the top of the thumbnail here, for some of the upstrokes when you're strumming, and you can use your index finger for the downstrokes. So you can get this kind of effect. And one of the nice things is when you get to that A minor, you can pick out some of the individual notes a little bit like Dylan does on the recording. So for those wanting to play Simple Twist of Fate in concert tuning, let's look at how we can do that. Now, this won't sound quite as much like the Blood and the Tracks original as the Open E version will, of course, but we can play it pretty well in standard tuning, and Dylan does that. So when he plays live, he plays it in different keys, and I don't think he plays in Open E tuning often, if at all, when he's playing live. Now we can start with this chord. This is basically an E major, so a kind of a standard E major is like that. We're just playing from the 4th string down, really, and you can finger it like this if you want to. So that's your first chord. They sat together in the park. And the next chord is this one, so I'm going to take my ring finger off of the 4th string, 2nd fret, and I'm going to put my index finger on the 4th string, 1st fret. That's going to give me an inverted form of E major 7. It's inverted because the root note E isn't at the bottom of the chord, it's actually an E flat there, which is the major 7th. So that's the second chord. So first chord, E major. They sat together in the park. E major 7. As the evening sky grew dark. Then take your index finger off of the 4th string, playing the open. That gives us an inverted form of E7. He looked at her, she felt a spark. That was the wrong way around. She looked at him, he felt a spark. Is what it should have been. They sat together in the park. As the evening sky grew dark, she looked at him and he felt a spark. And the next chord is A major. Tingle to his bones. And then A minor. 'Twas then he felt alone. Now, at this point it really does get a bit trickier to follow the original version, but you can do something like this, which I think works. And wished, E major, and then play this chord, that he gun, and then this chord, straight. So that's wished that he gun, Street. And that's giving you a bit of the spirit of the open E tuning, not verbatim kind of note for note the same chords, but a bit of the spirit of it, I think. Straight. And then finally back to E major, and watched out for A, and this chord, which is a form of B, simple twist, and I'm just playing there strings 5, 4, 3 and 2, simple twist, back to E major, fade.